material is wasted.
That's what I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while that's not on our assessment, that is on the lessons building up to the assessment. Like, it's not like we haven't
Yeah,
exposed
this'll-
kids to that problem.
Yeah.
We haven't created it in a real world setting, but we've given them that shape and they've had to figure that out. So it's not like we haven't taught
Yeah,
it.
we're not
We
gonna-
just haven't, it hasn't been on the assessment formally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that would be a great thing about what's the amount of wasted.
Yeah.
Material. Should we have them make an analysis? Will you have enough material left over? Should we go that
Enough
far?
material for what?
Whatever, you know what I mean, where they have to make an analysis after they do this to determine whether or not there's enough material to make another one, or do you know what I mean?
Oh.
Something
Like
like
it would have
that.
to, it couldn't be like wood, it would have to be something that you could remold.
Yeah,
like-
but you
like
know what I mean?
cookies or something.
Something like that, like, and that's just it,
Like
like,
cookie dough.
do we go that far where we have some kind of, okay, now that you have that information, can you analyze that information and tell me if you can do this or not? That's what I was thinking. Because that's where it usually seems to fold out on our performance tasks.
Yeah, so then it would have to not be wood, it would have to be something that you could.
I like the cookie dough thing,
Yeah.
or a brownie, or something like that, or, I don't know.
Because it could be a large cookie that you're doing.
Well, or, you know, the little, like, how many of you guys have done those cookies where you've got the cookie cutter and then
Yeah.
you,
Stamp
and then
out
you
and then
take
you
it all
remold
and
it
you
in the dough.
redo it and then you
Well,
go
and so
again.
maybe it wouldn't
Yeah.
be how much, do you have enough to create another one, but with your leftover material,
How many more can you make?
what's the biggest one that you could make again? Cause I bet you
Oh.
couldn't, there's not gonna be enough that you could make that same size again.
So if you make a perfect circle out of this shape with
Oh.
the remaining material,
Oh.
so you should know the square footage, right, of that
Mhm.
material. What's the largest size cookie you can make with what's left?
That's a performance task, right there. That is a performance task. That would take, because you have to work
Yeah, see, I don't-
backwards with that one
yeah.
too. That would be a good performance task.
Or
but-
enrichment.
Yeah,
Yeah, on this one, that
I don't
that
think,
would
I
be-
don't
I
think
think
on
it's too
this
much.
assessment.
Yeah.
I
like,
think it's too much.
Leave it at this, but
Yeah.
I actually do think that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and that's something that you could tie into that, you know. I was thinking if you wanted to do something like this is your kids want each this much each, you know, do you have enough to give the kids the cookie dough, you know, so that it'll make them happy, and it would be like no or whatever, you know, I don't know.
So I think
Yeah,
on
you
this
would
one-
start with.
I think on this one, let's just
And
leave
then,
it
yeah.
with
I think,
like what is either
what, how much is
how
left
much
over?
is left
Left
over,
over,
I guess,
yeah.
but I think that's a good question that we can add as an extension while we're actually doing
So for that one, as we're changing this one out, just because of what we have going on right now, so for each of these shapes, we're asking them to figure out the perimeter and the area. So on that one, they would just be what, and maybe make it shaded, that's what I think you'd have to do.
Mhm.
What's the area of the shaded, right? Cause that's what you would want them to focus on, right? What's the area of the shaded region?
So you'd physically, yeah, you would end up doing the shape.
You wouldn't really
Right,
be
so
able
you
to
don't need
do
to do a
perimeter.
perimeter then.
No,
Yeah.
that. Right. I mean, unless you ask like what's the circumference of that shape, I mean, if you wanted to, you could. It just wouldn't relate necessarily to
Right.
to the waste pieces.
Yeah. Sounds good.
right? What other ones do we need then? We've done what, B5, A2, we haven't done A2 yet, right?
We have not done A2.
Except that would be the drawing it, right? Draw geometric shapes with given conditions,
Mhm.
using a variety of methods. Isn't that drawing the track?
But these are more like triangles,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
like they
focusing
want you to
on,
focus on the,
constructing triangles from 3 measures.
and
This is
that, because we need to do that, can this triangle be that theorem?
Yeah, so like, what could the length of the third side of the triangle, if this one is 2 and this one is 4, the third side could be
Could
1.
be
Yeah.
from this to this
Yeah.
type thing.
And that, I think, rather than doing that in a formal assessment like that, I think that should be like a discovery, hands-on thing that we go over with them, and, cause then let's let them like create those triangles and see,
Mhm.
you know?
Like,
I
literally
think it
can't
could be
make
this, and then let's see, can you actually do it? you know,
Can
give
we-
them a
can
ruler,
we
make
do
it
like a
drawn out.
performance
And
task of sorts? I mean, it wouldn't be the end of unit,
Would
but.
you cut out a piece of paper, say, do this, and like, go ahead and measure it
Or
out? Is that what
I
you
think
do?
there's
Or
something, there'd have to be
string-
something more rigid though.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
thinking
that's right.
barbecue skewers.
Oh, no,
something
no,
like
no,
that.
those pipe cleaners. I don't know what they're called
Oh,
now
pipe
because
cleaners
nobody
would be
does
good.
pipes, but
Yeah,
yeah, pipe cleaner would be
that
good.
actually
Yeah.
would be bad.
We would cut them into specific lengths.
Yeah.
Oh, I think the 8 will work. Alright, we'll try the 8 and see if it actually works.
You know, and I can look as well because I know like years ago we had an activity like this, so I can look and see what we have left over from that. I know it's not pipe cleaners, but it's
Yeah.
something. But at least like you could see, cause I remember there was like a baggie that we gave kids, and really it wasn't exploring to begin with. You know, we're looking at triangles. What can you do with this? You know, how many different triangles can you create out of all the supplies, and then going into that. So there is some stuff that we have that we can build upon.
So would you do that, or would you give them 2 sides and say, what are all of the different possible lengths that the third side, or it would be the hypotenuse, correct?
Well, it doesn't
You
have
would
to be
always
a
do-
right triangle though.
No,
It's a
okay,
triangle.
so, but like you'd move the triangle in and out, right? And you'd say from what range could this be? And then would you ask
Would we
them to
use
give you a given
inequalities for
rule?
I think you could say,
No less than,
I
no
would, I
greater
think
than?
I
Yeah.
might start with, can this be the third side? And then they have to discover yes or no, and then if it's a no, why can't it be? And then from there go into, okay, so what could it be? And then you can say, okay, well, it could be from this number to this number.
And then we-
they have to, kind of do that discovery, like why does this not work? And then see if they can find that relationship between the other 2 sides of the triangle.
Yeah.
What is the relationship?
So it's the,
When you add up the two,
Sorry.
when you add up the 2 sides, those have to add up to be more than
More
the
than the third
hypotenuse.
size.
The hypotenuse
Well, it
cannot
doesn't
be
have to be a
shorter.
hypotenuse, does it?
Well, I mean,
No,
you
but
always,
it's the third
but
side.
you always call the longest side of a triangle the hypotenuse.
Oh, you do?
Yes,
I didn't know that.
the longest side of the triangle, and then the other 2 are the sides.
Mhm.
So the
So when they
longest,
do-
the 2 shortest sides, when you add them together, have to be longer than the longest.
So when they
side.
do problems like that, do they always give you the 2 shorter sides then?
they
When
just
they
give,
ask
they
you
give
things
you
like
any
that?
2 sides.
Any 2 sides?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's called it's the triangle inequality theorem.
Theorem,
So and that's exactly what you discover then, is you say, well, could it be, and if you have a
Okay.
side of 2 and 7, you say, all right, could this be 10?
But
And
you're
they
right,
don't-
it really is, it could be written, if you're gonna ask them to write some sort of an equation, they really write it in inequality.
Yeah.